It was late autumn, and the air was turning cold. A flock of ducks flew south. One duck saw a barnyard.
As a child, we did odd things as a family. We didn't read comic books or look at TV. We did mathematics problems. Driving down the highway, going to the Catskills in the back of a car. Numbers, sets, calculus, geometry.
Howard Jonas Shapiro studies the life of plants. One in particular.
Some people like animals, some people like plants. I was a plant person. We started a seed company. It started out as a social movement. Buy our seeds or you're a bad person. Any movement begins with kind of absurd gestures. Those of us who were the agriculturists knew what had to happen.
Amid cries of betrayal from customers, Shapiro and his partners sold Seeds of Change to one of the world's largest privately held companies.
They got it. We recognized that they thought very similar to what we thought, that the future had to be sustainable.
The chocolate industry depends on the vitality of one plant. In 1989, a fungal virus wiped out 70% of the crop of cacao in Brazil.
It was an alarm bell. We've been buying cocoa beans, maybe 50 years. You can't walk away. We're running out of biological capital. I think it was Will Rogers stated, they're growing more people every day, but they ain't growing no more soil.
The fate of an indigenous population and a large corporation were inextricably linked. Shapiro decided to assemble an unprecedented team of collaborators.
The plan had to be based on an encyclopedia of information, which is all these little bits of A, G, C, and T, all these genes, which tell you a story. I need to know, can this whole puzzle fit together genetically? Imagine all these pieces completely disoriented on the floor, filling this room, and you've got to take every single piece and put it in order. IBM has great computational biology and pattern recognition, things I need. I told him what I wanted to do. I don't think I used more than 20 words. Sequence the genome, do it immediately. He said yes. That was the end of the discussion.
After investing $10 million, Shapiro and his team cracked the genome code 2 years earlier than expected. What they did next would shock the world. They gave it away.
If I owned it, the world would change with my pace. If we put it in the public domain, it would change with a team of researchers around the world. Because without this, there was no guarantee of the future of the crop.
In the barnyard were some tame birds, and the duck enjoyed some of their corn. He stayed for an hour, then for a week, then for a month. And finally, because he relished the good food and safety of the barnyard, he stayed all winter.
If you look at other cities around us, very similar environment and very similar advantages, challenges, but they haven't grown at the rate that Dubai has. When you have a vision of the future, there's always some risk associated with it. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen?
Ahmed Barosian is a government official who doesn't think like a government official.
A lot of it is risk-taking, but a lot of it is belief.
He's been tasked with managing the safety of every vehicle in a city that's grown from 40,000 in 1960 to over 2 million today.
It's a desert city. We didn't have any natural resources as such. It was a fishing town. Dubai has become a modern city, but at the same time, we're still clinging on to our, our roots, our traditions. My father was a trader. He had a small shop, and he used to sell everything. In fact, his shop is still there in the old part of Dubai, and when I go and show my kids, I show them, this is your grandfather's, store.
While other cities had centuries to manage their growth, Dubai would not have that luxury. In 2001, Barosian was asked to move the city out of the past and into a new and connected world.
It was new to us, so we didn't know where to start, what e-government means, what's the transformation about. How do we take a service and transform it to something that's easy to use?
With over 1 million cars, he faced rising traffic fatalities and stifling congestion. But his biggest obstacle was getting the people of Dubai to rethink the way their society worked.
And the funny thing was, everybody in government thought that their service was the best in the world. And I was asking them why. They thought a bit and they said, because we've always been doing it this way. Most government organizations won't use the word customer. And the Arabic word for it was muraja. So muraja in Arabic comes from a verb which means to come back. So if you can imagine what that means from a customer point of view, you're a customer, you come in, and because you're called somebody who has to come back, it's very easy or it's very normal actually for you to be told, we can't finish this today, can you come back tomorrow? When we sit at the table with the IBM people and we look at a service, they find it very easy to tell me, Ahmed, this is a lousy service, we need to do something about it. There's a lot of trust, there's a lot of, I think, common belief, and the vision is shared.
The barriers between entrenched government organizations needed to be broken down.
Why does Dubai want, people to be happy with dealing with government? Because that's part of the competitive advantage of Dubai.
Acceptance came slowly.
So it was like having a hammer that was, so small and trying to break down a huge wall. You keep hitting it, but nothing happens.
In the spring, the wild ducks returned. The duck felt a strong stirring and was determined to join them. But he couldn't. He'd grown too soft, too heavy.
The head and torso of a very small premature baby can fit in an adult male's hand. They're fighting to survive in a foreign environment.
Carolyn McGregor finds meaning in numbers, numbers that often go unnoticed. As a computer scientist, she worked in banking and retail to find patterns in customer behavior.
My uncle said to me, this is great, but what are you going to do for the betterment of society?
In 1999, McGregor was asked to visit a world unfamiliar with her expertise.
And I walked into the neonatal intensive care unit, and for me it was just like being a child in a candy store. There were all these medical devices showing so much information on the screens about what the heart rate was doing and respiration rate was doing, and I just said, where is it going? And they showed me the piece of paper, and they said, oh yes, it gets summarised to a number every 30 or 60 minutes and written on this paper chart. I said, and where's all the data going that's in those machines? And they said, oh, it scrolls out of memory.
Each machine was gathering data at such a high volume that it was impossible for any one person to process.
When I see them there with paper charts and pens and paper and watching these babies, and I think, I can do this. I can use my skills to help them. When I started on this journey and when I met the neonatologist back in 1999, I was pregnant myself. And my daughter was born premature. She had a rare chromosome disorder and she passed away. There are so many babies who are born early and they just need to be given that out-of-womb environment to grow every day, to get stronger every day, and to go on and live their lives.
By gathering and analyzing the different streams of information, she believed she could help doctors detect life-threatening infections up to 24 hours sooner.
And after I presented my research, one of the IBM researchers came up to me and he said, I think we've got the engine. I can remember one point for one patient when I was plotting out their trajectory over time, and it was something different than I'd seen in a pattern of these other children, and it was, oh my goodness, I can see this behaviour.
Every spring and autumn the wild ducks returned. Sometimes another duck would beat his wings and cry out, pulled by some vague instinct. But for our duck, there was not even the old stirring within his breast. He was tame.
For me,
Monday morning is a big test. You've got so much going on in your mind on a Sunday, sitting at home or wherever you are. If I'm not having that tingling sensation of getting behind my desk, I ask myself a question, what's going wrong?
Sunil Mittal is an entrepreneur who has brought change to India one call at a time.
There is a business to be done at the bottom of the pyramid. And by the way, the bottom of the pyramid is the biggest block of the pyramid. And if you can build a business which plays to that, you can never, never fail because millions, hundreds of millions of people are your customers. My first breakthrough was really bringing portable generators from Japan into India. We had deep power shortages. And the small power generators would light up 3 fans, 6 lamps.
His success did not go unnoticed. The government gave 2 larger Indian companies exclusive rights to manufacture generators.
One evening, a notification went out, no more import of generators. So I had no business, virtually no business that evening, So you start afresh. You start looking for a new idea.
He tried importing answering machines.
It bombed very badly because in India, almost anybody who could afford an answering machine had a servant at home.
Despite his early setbacks, Mittal remained persistent. When he bid for India's first mobile phone service against the world's largest telecom companies, the monthly fees he proposed would defy convention.
All the big boys said, we'll charge 800, 900, 950. I went with 0. 0. Because if you had customers who were paying you tariffs per minute by calling, you didn't need any money on monthly rental. And if you had no customers, even 1,000 rupees didn't get you anywhere.
Before he knew it, he had 2 million customers. The question became, how could his company survive such astonishing growth?
We decided to outsource the entire IT for the whole nation to one company, that's IBM. It sent shudders down the spine of the telecom industry. I got calls from my peers across the globe, and they thought I had gone nuts. Because they said, you're giving your heart away.
Even his board of directors had their doubts.
I offered my neck on the line. I said, if this fails, I will resign. And that was nothing short of adventure. Had it gone wrong, we would have been killed.
I woke up in a hotel room working with the business one day and realized we can change the lives of people that we don't know.
If we can just save one life, it's already worthwhile.
We brought down our tariffs to a point where they are so low that for $50 a month, anybody can use a mobile phone in India.
My grand scheme included tripling the yield and lifting the cocoa farmer out of poverty. Maybe it will help with the social infrastructure, the cultural infrastructure, the ecological infrastructure. Imagine if you took all those topics together and said, that's the game.
That's one child that gets to go on to live. That's one family that doesn't have to go through the crushing implosion that you go through when you lose a child.
It's about everybody having the hammer. I have a hammer, and we're all hitting at that wall.
We all want to seek that new grass, new meadows, new mountains.
It takes a long time. It takes a lot of determination, and it takes a lot of, I think, patience to break those barriers.
You just spent $10 million on investment that guarantees the future of your business. Is that a good bet? So that's the best bet you ever made.
In any time where you try and change the way something is done, you come up against resistance.
And all the bigger boys, they didn't understand the business. They were too sure of themselves. They were too big and not hungry.
What are you?
Very hungry. Very hungry.